Camus, we learned from John Koskinen and the IRS that they had lost the backup tapes, or that the backup tapes no longer existed when we got a letter. Well, that letter went to the Senate Finance Committee, but that's when we learned, that's when the American people learned. When did you learn? When did the IRS tell you that the backup tapes didn't exist?
The same time as everybody.
So you learned like everyone else?
Yes, I did.
Okay. And then when did you find the tapes that the IRS said didn't exist?
We asked for them on June 30th, and we had them up by July 1st.
This is where the chairman was a few minutes ago.
Yes.
So you learned like the whole world, and then as the chairman said, 15 days later you find them. How'd you find them?
We asked for them, and we demanded them.
But I mean, how'd you actually get the physical tapes? What'd you do?
Well, we identified the IRS experts that would know where the tapes are. We interviewed them, and we obtained them.
Did you get in a car and drive to Martinsburg, West Virginia?
That's correct.
Yeah, you just got in the car. We drove to the place that had the tapes. You said, can we see the tapes? Here they are. Yeah. And those people, when you got the tapes from them, you said, hey, by the way, did the IRS ask you? Did they come out and ask you if the tapes were here? You asked them that question, right? And their answer was?
No.
No, they didn't. So you just did something pretty simple. Where are the tapes? I'm going to get in the car. I'm going to drive, and I'm going to get the tapes. Now, as the chairman pointed out, for 4 months, the IRS knew they lost the tapes, lost them, and didn't tell us, and then told the whole world, told you on June 13th, and within a few days, you had those tapes. And there were 744 tapes you got on July 1st.
Correct.
When you drove to Martinsburg and actually got the tapes.
That's right.
Okay. So you have that number. You have a lot of numbers in your testimony, but I want to focus on that number, and then I want to focus on, were these the only tapes you have gotten, or you've actually gotten in your possession? Are these the only tapes you've got?
No, 2 weeks ago, we recovered an additional 424 tapes.
All right, so that's what you point out near the end of your testimony. So 744 tapes originally. Now, just 2 weeks ago, you obtained 424 more. How'd you find out about these tapes?
As we were following up on our initial interviews, we realized that we were missing a document. When we obtained that document and reviewed it, we realized that there were an additional population of tapes that had been unaccounted for.
So missing a document. Whose document was that, and who should have given you that document?
It was an IRS document.
So they withheld a document from you that prevented you from figuring out there were more tapes than these 744. Is that accurate?
Withholding the document, I can't characterize that at the time because that's still under investigation.
They didn't give you a document, and by not having the document, you couldn't figure out that there were more tapes out there with potentially more Lois Lerner emails on them. Is that correct?
That would be accurate.
Yeah. So any concerns about the fact that that document wasn't there? And how did you figure out that the document was missing?
Just following up, as we're coming down to the conclusion in our investigation, we make sure we have all the documents. So when we determined that we were short one document, we went and demanded it, and we obtained it. Then we were able to notice that there were a population of tapes that had never been disclosed.
And where were those tapes? Same place?
They were also in Martinsburg.
So you got in the car and drove there again, right?
Yes, we did.
You got more tapes?
We did.
Amazing. Amazing. So now here's the key. And this is the chairman in his opening round of questions. So when you have the IRS take 4 months to tell you something, and they don't even go to the place you figured out in 2 weeks, you got in the car, drove there, and got them. The IRS says they don't exist, right? You can find them in two weeks, get access to those tapes, and then you learn that so 4 months there, you get it in 2 weeks, and then you learn that they're not giving you the documents, that you need to find even more tapes. So when the chairman asked the important question, is there potentially criminal activity here? Your answer was,
there is potential criminal activity.
And that's the thing, right? I mean, it sure smells like it. If the IRS takes 4 months to tell us something as important as we lost Lois Lerner's emails, and their excuse is we're doing our due diligence, we're doing everything we darn well can do to get those, and then when they do make it public to the whole world, they didn't tell you ahead of time, they told you when they told the whole world, and in 2 weeks you got them, suddenly they're, oh, wait a minute, well, 2 weeks to get them, and then you find out, in addition to that, they're withholding documents that uncover even more tapes. So we're not talking 744 tapes. We're talking over 1,100 tapes that we now have. And so, of course, that's why she's done left. She should have stayed. This is why we're having the hearing. When the American people understand 1,100 tapes that the IRS said, they're gone, we can't get them, and all you do is get in a car, drive to Martinsburg, West Virginia, not that far, one state over, and get the tapes. Holy cow. Of course, we should have had this hearing 2 weeks ago when you first learned that those tapes were, those 424 tapes were out there.
Thank the
My
gentleman.
time expired. I yield back.